What lessons did you learn? So,
When in law enforcement, it taught me to be observant. When when I did undercover work and stuff like that, when I was with DEA, and when I was working with the DPD in stress and in the precinct and car boosters, whatever, ability to observe allowed me to make a lot of felony arrests, basically, spotting things that other people didn't spot. And then I taught the other guys to see what I was seeing, and they started to appreciate it.
well, that was good.
I had, a couple of guys come up and say, "Hey, thanks, because, what you told me worked." And as a result, they were in uniform. They got accommodations for, catching guys with concealed weapons and stuff like that. There was a way that some of the guys would walk, that the street robbers would walk, and you could tell if they were packing or not, how they were walking and what they were doing, looking around. And I want to say, all you got to do is sit back and watch, and you will see what they're going to do. And so it was rewarding in that sense. Working with against hostile forces or people, it helped. When I was at DEA, sometimes you arrest a guy, and I remember this one time, the guy was, the undercover agent was in the car, and we were going to arrest the perp in the car with him, and so everyone started to run up to the car. I said, "Don't run, just walk up there, because if you're walking, you're part of the neighborhood, but if you're running, you're going to alert him that something is wrong." So I just walked up to the car, got next to the door, and he never knew what happened. But I've seen that when guys would run up there and the guy is reaching for his gun and everything. But if you walk up, he's not going to expect it, try and get high ground to do a surveillance.
Now,
it's always
was
the best
this
thing.
actually lessons that you learned in the military, or was this afterwards?
It was a way of thinking that I learned. To be as quiet as possible when you're going to do something. You didn't want to announce. When I went through training at DEA, we had a situation where we had to arrange for a raid on a farmhouse out in the country. And there was a long road with a big open view. And most of the guys, when they ran their teams in, they would come down the road barely in. The people in the house naturally saw them. And I brought my crew in through the back. We low crawled through some bush and snuck up on the house. And when the car first hit the gate to come down the road, we hit the door. And it surprised everyone in there. So all the instructors were sitting there quite surprised. They hadn't expected that. But those are the things, to look for a different way to solve a problem. That was something I really learned. I had some good mentors when I was in SF. The Sergeant Griffin used to sit with me and teach me, all the things about shape charges and all those little things, little tricks he learned on setting up his ambushes and so forth. So, I had some good teachers. I had good cross-training.
So did you actually stay in the police department until you retired? Or?
No. I left DPD after 3 years, and then I went to DEA. And then I left DEA with a disability, medical.
Oh.
It's part of the stress that was related to the Vietnam, that kind of thing. But I did 10 years there before the injury. And the one thing, I guess, was sometimes may have been a problem was I didn't want to shoot anyone right away. You know, a guy pulled a gun one time. He was flushing his Coke in the bathroom, and I went in the door. The bathroom was locked, and I kicked the door and went in there, and he turned with a pistol in his hand, and rather than shoot him, I figured I was close enough to grab him, which I was, luckily. And before he could turn completely around, I had grabbed him and the pistol and, took him down, which probably in hindsight I should have just shot him rather than take that chance. And then I did it again with a guy with a shotgun. Oh. And I did it with him because he had his kids in the front room. And we came through the door. He was hiding in the bedroom. And we came through the door. I came through the door, and he was grabbing this shotgun and starting to spin around. And I jumped across the bed and grabbed the shotgun and spun it and took it from him. It kept the rest of the guys on the crew from starting to shoot. And it prevented him from firing the shotgun, which, if it missed, was going to probably go toward the room where his kids and his wife were. So that's another situation that I think, looking back, mm-hmm. It was probably the right thing, but could have been kind of stupid. Could have shot him and hit him right, and he's not going to get the shot off. But like I said, at the time,
this is hindsight.
Yeah, at the time, it seemed the thing to do was to protect the kids. Mm-hmm. But I guess because I'm older and slower now. I look back and say, no, I may have been a half a step slow, and then I would have been history. Oh, well. But yeah, that kind of stuff, help build the shooting ability. That helped. Mm-hmm.
This was all your military training.
Yeah. The planning situations. I think that was improved greatly from the military. So all in all, the ability to work, to think about working as a team, because that was drilled in as a team. And when I would bump into guys who were regular military units, they didn't have that. They didn't have situations where they made their own decisions, and at the SF, if you were a sergeant, you're making decisions. Mm-hmm. Guys that were E5 like me and some of these other units, it was basically just a pay grade unless something went wrong and they were passing the blame down. It stopped there. But I found it to be quite rewarding to learn, and it took on a great deal of respect for the people that I worked with. They were very bright, and did quite well. They were, they weren't the Rambo type of guys. They were everyday people. No one was, big bodybuilders or anything like that. Some guys were deeply religious, some weren't. Some were just the opposite. But the one thing is that they all shared was the concept of team. And that was very important, the team. In fact, the one time it was Halloween, 1969. I had been out looking for a 20 millimeter anti-aircraft gun that was being shipped around in that area in VA.